How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. Time to get into some animation. Time to get creative. Time to get that imagination all revved up. And it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Herge. If you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. He is basically most well known for the Adventures of Tintin series. I love his work. I think he's got such a creative mind and really beautiful draftsmanship. His line work is one of my favorites, especially in cartoon or illustration work for sure. He's just got such great line quality, and by that I mean he can, like this angle right here, knowing exactly where to place that line so you get the foreshortening and you get the angle right and you get the anatomy right. It's very difficult to do that and to simplify it into such a lot of times when you get simplification you lose a lot of anatomy, let's see, in a lot of illustration and stuff, and he does a great job of that, getting angles right and perspectives and all, simplifying it down, and I think he does a beautiful job of that. Plus I love his color work and just his whole style and motif, for sure. So if you haven't read any Tintin books, definitely do yourself a favor and grab a couple. I will link to more of his stuff down below if you guys are looking as well. But he always does these big elaborate illustration scenes as well that kind of remind me of a mix of kind of like a Mobius style with all the amounts of detail and everything in there. Kind of going back to we were looking at yesterday as well. But anyways, I wanted to share a couple of quotes with you guys from him, and bear in mind that these are translations from interviews, so it could be off by a couple of words, but I think the spirit of them still resides either way. So I grabbed a few of them, and they're a little bit shorter, but I liked each one of them, so here we go. As for me, when I create it, when I see him alive, and that was, I thought, interesting, because this kind of goes back to what we talk about sometimes with illustration, is that I really like illustrations that you feel like there was something that happened just before and just after, like right here, just since we're looking at it here. Obviously, right before this, he must have picked up this scroll, and right after this, it's going to be handed over to him. So grab that, glimpse that moment of, like, almost the key moment, like we talk about the storytelling poses, and you have to figure that these are going to be living characters, so this is going to be in between. A lot of people might just have done, one guy holding it and looking at it, which again, you could say there's something that happened before that and after that, but this is a pivotal, interesting moment because you can tell that there's life in here. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen before? And then the next one was, I do what I want. If I don't like a stroke, I change it. And I thought that was another interesting one because it sticks to the fact of sticking to your guns and saying, this is what I want to do, this is the things that I want to do, and not worry about what other people are saying, and also not being afraid to try things out. If you don't like them, change them up. And then the last one was, I thought, the best one, and it was, creation is amusing, even if you suffer a bit. And obviously, I think most people who are really into creative work, and not everyone, but most people who really get into it, struggle and don't like their own work. That you can see that throughout most artists in history, that they just get really frustrated with their own work, and even if it's really good and the world likes it, there's always something that they kind of dislike about it. There's very few that are completely and wholly satisfied with everything they do. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into some animation. This is a Stickman rig. It's a free rig over at Creative Crash, and I will link to this and more about Herge down below if you guys want to check that out. And if you're not familiar with what we'll do, we'll give ourselves 48 frames, 2 seconds of animation. I go off and find a rig that I've never used before. It's a free resource for you guys to play around with. And we see where we go from there. A little bit of kind of hang out with me while I animate, a little bit of instruction, a little bit of kind of talking through the thought processes and everything. And overall, the main goal for these ones is to encourage you guys and to make you feel like you're not alone in your art day or your creative endeavors, and also to hopefully inspire you guys to go off and create something today. And whether that's because you saw something or we talked about something that piqued an interest in you, or you saw something and you were like, you know what, I could do it better, and you go off and create your own thing. And no matter what it is, no matter what medium you're using, definitely share it back so I can give you guys some encouragement or send me a message or any of that kind of stuff, so that I can help you guys keep going and keep you motivated to continue to be creative every day. So that being said, let's go ahead and get in here. And remember, we're kind of doing this Jump-Vember where we do a jumping animation every day for the month of November. Something a little bit different rather than kind of sticking with more centered around walking, which we've been doing mostly. And these are good just because they do like body mechanic exercises. But what I was thinking for this one is we'd have him. This one might be a little bit longer, so we might do a two-parter on this one. But have him jump from one wall to the other. And let's go ahead and create our first storytelling pose here. So move the body over here. Rotate the hips. We are using Autodesk Maya 2014, which I will have a link to in the information below if you guys are interested as well. Should we move that or should we twist it this way? Okay, let's move the hips. And grab the feet here. Grab them. We'll have them jump from one wall to the other. Just so we do something a little bit different with our jumps for today. Really twist those hips. If we can here. Wonder if we're going to get into some weird deformation there. Might have to do it this way then. I'll try that and see how that works. And let's go ahead and plant the feet here. I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy and turn him off for now, just so that get a little better visibility as we're creating our posing here. Gotta be wary of the knees. Get the hands in there. Wait till it gets there. That's this foot. Yeah, once I rotate Z, rotate X here. And rotate that back. Grab those. Okay. Grab both of those and bend it down. This might be tricky to do. We'll figure it out though. We'll figure it out. Definitely an interesting setup for how this rig works. Rotate that back a little bit more. Bring that knee up here. Starting to get to somewhat of a working pose. Still ways to go here. Bring that knee up and over. Bring that hand in. Down. Bring the elbow down. And bring that one. Bring that elbow down. Over. A little bit higher, just to get a better silhouette. place to start off with. Hopefully, we'll see. And let's set our frame range from 0 to 48, and then I forgot if I mentioned, but we are using Autodesk Maya 2014. If you're not familiar with the program, check out the links below, and I'll have a link to it over there. And we'll go ahead and go to frame 0, and we'll set our first key, make sure we save our file, and don't forget to save multiple versions and to save often. And then let's try getting to, pull that in a little bit more. And then we'll have to rotate it over here. It's a little bit different setup than usual. And I'm going to assign a new material to those, just because it's getting too dark in there. Translucence. Make them a little more transparent, just so we can see through it. So make sure our posing is going to work here. Okay, now I'm going to make it a little less transparent than that, so you can really see if we're actually hitting the wall or not. We'll grab both of those and we'll bring them in a little bit more. And move them over. Okay. So that. Alright, now let's, again, we're going to have to play around with how we approach this one, but I think it'll work. Sorry about that. Let's keep that at like 1 until 10. 47, bring it to 40. Okay, still too much, so I'm bring too slow. We're just trying to get our timing locked down for how we're going to do this. Like I said, normally I would do the hip controller with this, but it was rotating and giving us some strange twists with how the legs were working, so I'll have to do it this way instead. Still probably about 2 frames shorter than what it is now. Take 16, bring that to like 19, take 33. this one, let's pull it up a little bit higher, drag it a little bit more. Raise it, push it forward. Give it a couple more frames for it to land. Actually, because this one and this one, I don't want that foot to land in that hand. So we probably can put a 4 frame. Okay, and let's clean that up so we can get a little bit of arc here. Goes down. It's fine. Okay, now let's do this foot. I'll have it actually drag down. I'm trying to get a better line of action throughout here. We can raise up and go really close to where it is. And let's go up a little bit more with that. Go up, so it's got a little bit of a slip there. Maybe a little less. I like the idea of that foot slipping a little bit. Let's let it drag a little bit more. Okay, let's see it now. One thing I don't like is this knee. How the knees should give a little bit of a and then let's go ahead and grab the head here. Drag it back. Let's look at the rotate X here. Rotate it back there. Okay. Maybe it's a little too much. Rotate back to just a little bit. And overshoot it a little bit more. And this one, let's go ahead and still have it feel like it's dragging a little bit more. Reach out. Foot roll. Have it hit a little bit much drag on the head. Go a little bit further now. Let's take that up 2 frames. sooner. Let's see. And let's do a little bit of rotate on this foot as well. Let's go ahead and drag that foot right there. Up like that. Give it one more frame with some rotate on it. Let's go ahead and drag that foot again. See if we can get a little bit better with our line of action here, going through the body. That's a little better. Yeah, I think that works pretty well. Let's go ahead. I was thinking this one was going to be a little bit longer, but ended up being a little bit shorter. Again, I wish we had kind of a little bit better controllers for this. And if we lit it and everything, we'd probably get a little bit sharper in there. Definitely could spend another hour or so polishing that up, but when can't we? We can always keep going. Let's go ahead and turn our grid off here. Curves, surfaces, polygons. There's that thing. There we go. Turn our curves off. Let's go and watch that a couple more times. I feel like the movement at the beginning might be a little too much here. So it translates these, I think. Maybe that one's just a little too big. Let's scale them both down. Maybe a little bit more. Still feel like that head's just launching into that too much. Let's give us one more frame there. Yeah, I feel like that works alright. So let's take a look back at where we started. We were looking at Herge, and he said, as for me, when I create it, when I make it, I see him alive. And I think that's really important to try and view your illustrations or your animation as actually living things, and then that'll help add that extra element of the illusion of life. That's what we're going for through any of this stuff. And I do what I want. If I don't like a stroke, I change it. Follow your passions, follow those things that you want to do. There's that big thing going around. Forget I was listening to but talking about things that are your passion projects that are you're not getting paid for them. They're just things that you do because you want to do them. That those things tend to lead to the best jobs or tend to lead to the best outcomes because you're actually devoted to it or committed to making it work. And if you don't like something, don't be afraid to change it. And then the last one, the most important one from him, is creation is amusing even if you suffer a bit. And I think that's a big part of being someone who creates something lasting, is that you're going to suffer through it. You're going to have to not pursue other things that you like. because you have to put your time and your effort and your thoughts and all that stuff into those things that are important to you. And you're also going to suffer because sometimes you put all that in there and it just doesn't work out. And as you can see, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I do this series with you guys too, is because there's some animations that I look at the next day when I have to upload them, and I'm like, you know what? I would do that so much differently than I did that at that particular time under those circumstances while recording and while doing all that stuff. But part of this journey that I want to share with you guys and go along with you guys is looking at the successes when it works and looking at the failures and trying to grow from that. And a lot of people say that you learn more from your failures than you ever do from your successes. So I think it's important to share that stuff and to invite criticism from yourself and from other people and try and grow and work past that. So that being said, I love you guys lots. If you're watching this, you guys are the creative future, and I totally believe in you. I hope that you guys are pursuing your dreams or finding out whatever it is that you're passionate about, and enjoying that journey. And if you do, definitely share down any stuff that you want feedback on, or you want just some nice comments on, or some encouragement, or anything that you guys are creating. And that being said, I'm rambling by this time, so I think that's time to wrap it up. So you guys have a lovely day, and we'll see you for some more animation tomorrow.